Hello, I'm doing another home education Q&A video today, and I'm going to answer one question in this video because it's a big question, and it's from Samuel Beacon, who asks, what are the struggles of homeschooling? So I'm Imogen. I've been homeschooling my one daughter, Isabel, for about 8.5 years. She is now just coming up to her 15th birthday. Now, the number one thing that immediately sprang to mind, and you'll already know this if you follow my channel, was resistance. I made a whole video on that alone, so I'll link that in the description below, and if you're interested in that, you can watch that after this one. And number two, money. Loss of income. That's been really hard. When you choose to home educate here in the UK, you don't get any financial support for that education whatsoever. You make your bed, you lie in it, that's how it is at the moment, unfortunately. Make your choice and you have to pay for it. And you know, you don't need to spend a fortune to home educate, but the real problem I find is the fact that you're not out working, you're staying at home or going out with your child, and you're not able to work as many hours as you otherwise would. So that's a major struggle. I am a single parent, so there's only been one breadwinner, and that's me. So I've been really limited with what I can earn. So the way I've got around that is just keeping my expenses as low as possible. I've lived somewhere where house prices are very, very low compared to a city. The drawback of that is we've had to do quite a lot of commuting to get to things over the years because we're living out of the way quite a bit. I don't own a car, I don't drive anyway, but not owning a vehicle has kept my costs of living down. If there's two of you, one can work, one can stay at home and you can manage, fantastic. So yeah, that's a massive struggle. Number three, especially again if you're a single parent, childcare. When children go to school, you've got free childcare 5 days a week. When you home educate, you don't get any childcare at all. So in my case, I've become very reliant on my parents to help out with childcare because there's no way I could have afforded to pay anybody at all. So that's a drawback. You end up having to put on other people and then you feel guilty, and yeah, I don't see any other way around that. Unless you can work from home, of course, and manage it with them around you or take them to work. It depends what you do, doesn't it? Different people will get around that different ways. Ideally there's two of you and you take it in turns and then it's not a problem. Number four has not affected me whatsoever, but I know that it does affect a lot of home educating families, so I'm going to include it, which is disapproval from your family. I didn't have this. My parents have been so supportive of my decision and they've helped me wonderfully over the years, not only with the childcare, the aforementioned childcare, but my mum's done amazing stuff with Izzy. They've done art together, they've done loads of baking, and my dad has done loads. They've read to her when she was little. They've done gardening, all sorts of just lovely inclusive activities with her and a lot of focused attention. So in a way, the childcare has been a big plus for the child itself. But we have been very lucky in that respect. A lot of families find that their parents literally disown them over their choice to home educate. They can really feel very opposed to it, feel that they're not doing the best thing for their child, and that can be a real problem for home educators. But not me, luckily. Now, sticking with the attitudes of others towards your family, the next struggle of homeschooling is bullying. Yeah, now, do you know, a lot of people have been quite concerned. They think my child doesn't get bullied because she's at home all the time and doesn't see any other kids. That's not the case at all. I don't know why you would be worried that my daughter's not getting bullied, but you would be surprised. A lot of people think it's an essential part of growing up, and that is their opinion, and that is a valid opinion, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, Isabel's had quite a lot of bullying, and that has been a struggle of homeschooling. She's been bullied by kids who I think they may be resentful that they perceive her as this cherished child who's getting all the love and attention of their parent and don't have to go to school. And I think the resentment has resulted in some pretty negative behaviour, from being kicked in the legs, called names, you know. And that's kind of taken place in some of the groups that I haven't attended, for instance, like leisure centre classes where she's gone and done more sporty activities for sort of physical fitness and things like that. Those have been the sort of places when I've not been there, when she's been exposed to that sort of negativity. And some other ones as well, other classes that I've dropped her off and picked her up afterwards. This has especially happened in groups where there's a big representation of children from a particular school, and they sort of come as a ready-made clique, and they can just exclude the homeschooler. So that's a struggle. Not all children do that. Some children are very accepting, some are very interested, some think it's a real novelty and maybe even want to be friends with her because she's kind of different and exciting and novel, you know, a completely different way of life. Over the years, Izzy's struck up friendships with various children in different classes, clubs and groups, and they've been getting on fine. They've found some common ground together. Maybe they were both mad about Harry Potter, or they were both particularly interested in a particular hobby, or they just clicked, you know. And then the question comes up, what school do you go to? And then Isabella's found, with some children, a good many children over the years, that as soon as she said she's home educated, it's like this wall comes across, and it's as if the child thinks, cannot relate, and it's as if they just don't know how to relate to her all of a sudden. And one child in her class even said to Izzy that Izzy said they backed off. They literally took some steps back away from her when she explained she was home educated, and they said, well, I'd better not talk to you anymore then, because you're not used to it. And then they never spoke to her again. So that can be a struggle of homeschooling. It's not every child that goes to school that just has this like do not compute mentality. It is the minority, fortunately, but it is something that has happened to us over the years, and so it classes as a struggle. I also think that sometimes what happens, and this is speculation, okay, this is not fact, this is what I think happens, Isabel will meet some new people that she's never met before and they're getting on fine, and then the next time she sees them, their attitude seems to have changed. And I think what happens is they go back to their families and they say, I've met this girl and she doesn't go to school. And, you know, homeschooling's a massive deal. It's a massive commitment and it's not for everyone. And I think probably parents are thinking, oh, I don't want my child to want to be home educated. Let's put them off quick. And, you know, said, yeah, but you'll never get any friends if you don't go to school. You would be this, that and the other. And I think that's what's happening. So when that child meets your child again, they've been filled with all this negativity about homeschooling from the important influences in their life and set against it. And I don't think anybody ever does it with a bad intent. And, you know, a lot of people think that homeschooling is not the right choice, and they think genuinely that their children won't have any friends. And they genuinely think that their children will be bored staring at the same four walls every day. They think that's what it is like. So I don't think they mean it in a bad way, but it does end up filtering through to the home educated child somehow or another, and so that is a struggle. Another struggle, not entirely unrelated to that one, is number 6, attempted conversion to going to school. And this can be from other children, mostly. I don't think we've really had it from adults, though I suspect a lot of homeschoolers do get it from adult relatives who are, you know, chipping in the odd, wouldn't you like to go and meet more people in school and all that stuff. But for us, it's always come from other children. So this has happened when Izzy's been playing in houses with friends who go to school, and genuinely it's not come from any place of negativity. The children have liked Izzy, they've really wished that she could be with them in their school all day, and they just want her to want to go to school. So they've sort of done the, you know, propaganda on her, you know, school is brilliant, homeschooling is rubbish, you must get your mum to send you back to school. And this has happened a few times over the years, and so I've got as far as offering Isabella, okay, I'll ring up a couple of schools and we'll make an appointment, we'll go and see a few and you decide whether you want to go, because I don't want her to go to school because she's been coerced into it. If she wanted to go to school, I wanted it to be for her own right reasons. But actually when it came to it, she didn't even want me to make the call. So yeah, that has been a struggle. She's been pressurised and then she's transferred that pressure onto me, but then when it's come to it, she hasn't even wanted to make an appointment to go to the school. So, but that's something you might not expect. Number 7, brain fog. I don't get brain fog anymore, but oh, when Izzy was little, I got brain fog, and it was the relentless parenting. It was just non-stop because you never get away. As a single parent home educator anyway, I'm a single parent home educator. All this perspective is really coming from single parent home educating, but when you're one-on-one during every waking hour, you don't get any processing time in your mind. And I don't know about your child, but mine certainly chatted to me non-stop because there were no siblings in the house. Constant chat, and I couldn't gather my thoughts. It was so difficult. The only time I would get it was after she was in bed, by which point I'm knackered, but that would be when I was doing my prepping for the next day. The way I'd get around this is just lots of groups, clubs and classes for my own benefit as well as hers. So going to the home ed groups, I'd sit and chat to the other parents. We'd have the children in our sight or in our earshot as they got older, and then not even in our sight and earshot when they got older again, you know, as was age appropriate. But just sitting and talking to adults, that was wonderful for curing the brain fog, so I highly recommend that. But yeah, you'd be amazed. Just non-stop relentless input from a child. She used to literally make me dizzy. I couldn't think a whole sentence. I had that little headspace for years. Number 8, time. It takes up so much time, especially if you're going child-led and you're waiting for them to be in a receptive mood, you know. Oh man, I mean, when you home educate, you are the teacher and facilitator, you're the dinner lady, you're the cleaner, you're the one that's in charge of getting supplies, be it food or toiletries or education materials. You're the classroom assistant that's preparing all the materials. You are everything, but you only have a finite amount of time to do it all, and it's very hard to fit in cleaning the house and cooking good meals, making the packed lunch before you head out for the day. That is just, oh my goodness, it's such a juggling act. But you just learn to discard all the non-important things and do what you need to. And there's all sorts of little tricks you can do for managing when to get the washing up done and things like that. You know, I'll probably do that in another video if anybody's interested. Number 9, this one's not going to be for everybody, but for us, a big struggling of home education was health problems. And really that's what sort of sent us down that path in the first place. And a lot of home educators will say the same. It was a health problem, or it was some kind of character trait that meant that their child just was not suited to mainstream education. And just because you take the child out of school, it doesn't make the problems magically evaporate, and you've still got to deal with them. So that has been an issue. It's reduced the amount of hours that she can spend working. For most of her life, and she still does, my particular one has got a medication routine that she goes through. She has to take oral pills, she's got stuff going up her nose, eye drops, she's got a lot of topical medications, and it's the topical ones that take the time. And literally, I used to have to do it before she got old enough to want to do it herself, and literally hours out of every day was spent applying layer after layer of different topical creams and ointments, and bathing as well, and redoing it. And that probably took 2 hours out of our day every single day, I'd say. So that was a problem, because it would reduce the amount of time that we had to fit in the learning and all the social activities. Also ill health, just generally feeling unwell. So often she wouldn't be able to sleep at night, so she'd just have to get up later so that she'd had enough sleep to keep well and healthy. So yeah, health problems for us, major, and really just ongoing. We're in a good phase at the moment, the best phase she's ever been in at the moment. And number 10, well, I only had 9, and then I thought, oh, I know, I'll just think of a 10th one, and then it'll be like more catchy. 10 Struggles of Homeschooling. So number 10, it didn't take me long to think of it. Prejudice from other people. Yeah. So you do feel a bit at odds with the mainstream when you become a home educator. Some people are really into it, they're really supportive of your decision, but the majority think you're a bit of a nutter. So you just have to kind of learn to live with that. Quite often when I meet a new person, I don't tell fibbies, but I just might not mention that I'm a home educator too early on in that relationship, because it's like when Izzy used to tell the children that she didn't go to school, it's just immediately, woof, the wall goes up. They just think they can't relate to you. They think, this person's a nutter, I can't relate to them, let's move on. So I try to establish a bit of a connection first with some common ground, and then sort of wait till they ask, really, or unless it just comes up in conversation. But you just learn to live with it. You have to be a bit thick-skinned, really, to be a home educator, because it does go against the grain, and a lot of people will think you're a bad parent because you do it, and it's not nice knowing that people think you're a bad parent, but you've just got to learn to brush it off, really, and just have confidence in your own decisions. Oh, here comes my child. I'm just finished. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody? There she is. I've just been talking about the struggles of homeschooling.
There's not that much struggles. I'm very good.
There's nothing against you, apart from the fact that you just talk non-stop when you were little. But that's good. You were very articulate. Very articulate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Toodles.